Sheesh. Put some tunes on, guys, and then we're going to go through this quick little explanation. It shouldn't be too much. I just wanted to spend maybe 30 minutes tops. It's pretty late. I've been kind of busy taking care of a bunch of stuff, and I really hadn't a chance, so I'm hoping that I can we can hey, excuse me, Miss Moo. Anyways, then we're just gonna get it rolling here. So I'm constantly trying to find games to play, to post that are interesting and unique. That again, that kind of shotgun effect, or we're splattering the wall with a bunch of different ideas. What can we play that's just different and unique? Like SWTOR, Star Wars The Old Republic. Doc and I playing everything from Elden Ring to SCP. But for a lot of you guys who listen to our podcast, or even may know me personally or play games with me, you know that I'm a computer engineer by trade. But like most engineers, my career, my job, my field of expertise is not primarily my only field of interest. I've always been into engines, of all variations, since I was a pretty young boy. I actually had a deep love for motorcycles first, before cars or trucks. I think when I was about 14 is when I first fell in love with super sport, and then super bikes shortly after. Dirt bikes and quads, and then super bikes, sport bikes. As I got older, sport bikes were kind of my thing, as you all know, as Ducati Damo, and you watch my stuff, and so on and so forth, the motorcycle videos. But you can't just live off sport bikes, motorcycles in general, as much as everybody wants to say they can. It doesn't work that way. So, I mean, maybe if you live in Florida, sure, and you got rain clothes, and you're willing to play that game. But when I finally got to a point in my life where I needed to I wanted a vehicle that just wasn't, a Honda Civic, or just something that I was using to get to work. For many years, I bought whatever vehicle was easiest, or whatever I could find that was in the best condition for the best price, so I can get to work. And I never was happy. It never was something that made me happy. I used to regret getting in. I had a Honda CRV for a while. Super reliable car, fantastic, but I hated it. It was ugly. Just I didn't feel confident in it. I didn't feel good in that vehicle. So a lot of vehicles, a lot of, cars or motorcycles, whatever, to people, sometimes an extension of who they are. And say what you will about that, but it's the truth. So because I'm an engineer now, and I've gotten older, and I have many hobbies, thanks to ADHD. Mechanics has always been a pretty big interest of mine. And they started off with trucks. I had a 1992 F250 custom. F250 custom. And it had a 460, a 7.5 liter 460 big block in it. And that was my first time ever really beginning the road of understanding engines, combustion engines. I knew many things about electric motors. There's a difference between a motor and an engine. I knew all of the electronic side of stuff. I was already in my field at that time, or at least I was ramping up. But mechanics were new to me and daunting, to be honest. The idea of tearing apart an engine and rebuilding it to thousandths of an inch of accuracy, and all the things you have to do to make engines efficient and last long and don't grenade on you in the freeway. It was daunting to me, but I took it on with this big block V8, this big old Ford V8. And it was a good learning platform because it was very forgiving. And because it was old, and there's a lot of 460s out there because nobody wants to drive them because it's like gallons per mile with one of those. There's a lot of parts, and I could get what I needed to. But from there, I quickly fell in love with diesels, and not because I wanted to roll coal, not because I got a big trunk, honk tonk, donk donk donk, yee yee, Colorado mentality. I like diesel trucks because the engineering behind them was fascinating to me. That this engine that's meant to do laborious work, you just give it more fuel, more air. The compression aspect of it. I learned so much about petroleum and hydrocarbon energy and things like that. I ended up buying a 2001 F350 Lariat with a 7.3 Power Stroke in it, an international 7.3 Power Stroke, and I rebuilt it. I did so much work to that engine. The timing, worked on tunes. I literally understand the Huey injection system at a pretty advanced level through many a trial and error and breakdowns. It's a Ford. And it just grew from there. So not to go on too long and ramble away, I'm trying to keep this video somewhat modest so that, for the sake of time. But with that being said, pretty much any field of or engineering is interesting to me, and mechanical engineering is up there with my current career, and would have been another career of mine if I had taken a slightly different path at some point in my life. So with that being said, there's not a lot of games out there that give us true engine simulation or mechanical freedom. There's a lot of games that try, or you can buy parts or engine builder and 3D stuff, but and the predefined parts and things like that. This game, however, and I stumbled across this on a YouTube video in the middle of the night one night. Couldn't sleep, laying in bed on my phone. And this is a hyper-realistic engine simulation game. And I almost say it's almost a tool more than a game. Now, obviously it was made by a dude. It has its own issues. There's definitely some inaccuracies in places and a lot of missing huge chunks of parts of reality. Like, you can't just, have a 19-to-1 compression engine, and you know what I mean? Like, there's some things that you can get away with that haven't been added to the game. The gentleman made this as a project. The project blew up, and now he's actually making a full-fledged version that he'll release on like Steam or for money, not just like an open source repository, right? Nonetheless, you don't just drag and drop parts. This is a series targeted to people not only who are car people, motorcycle people, but are people who are maybe into programming or on that side of stuff. So the way this works is you have to define everything about this engine, utilizing the programming language that the gentleman who developed this game, he also built this programming language. You need to define ignitions, your ignition modules. You got to define, cam profiles. You need to, define, the cylinder head. You define the actual engine. You camshaft, rod journal. I mean, everything and anything, and it's all values that matter. I've been playing with this for probably a couple weeks now, and I've looking up, from my personal interest, my 2021 Ducati Panigale with its Ducati Desmo Sedici Stradale, that V4, phenomenal engine, and a lot of people believe it's one of the most advanced, production gasoline engines on the market. At least in the motorcycle world, and trying to find information to build a variation in this game was so hard, to the point where I had to do a lot of deduction through images and articles and back posts on my Ducati forum, and I could barely get a working one. Um, but you can do it. You can make whatever you want. Now, again, this game isn't completed, and there's definitely some holes in places. We'll find that out. But this is an engineer's wet dream, for lack of better terms. If you're a mechanical or computer engineer, you like building something, and you don't have a full-fledged garage or the money to go out and build engines just to turn them over, you know what I mean, or machinist or whatever, this is fantastic. So I wanted to open some engines tonight. I don't know if we're we may start one. We want to build an engine, but I'm going to open a couple up, and I'm just going to go through and kind of explain how the game works. So I have one open here. So right now I have a third party, so the gentleman who made the game, he made like a handful of engines to start off with. And then he has a Discord and there's a website called Parts Catalog where people of the community can make and put their engines up for other people to download. So I downloaded a series of engines that, looking at the stats, were somewhat in par with reality. And we're going to go through a couple of those today and play around with them and kind of just showcase the game. So the first engine I have open here is a 2005 Suzuki GSXR 1000 K5. So the leader bike engine. There's a couple of mechanics in this game that I haven't fully figured out yet. I'm learning them. Some of it's, understanding burn ratio, or in it. We'll get there. So I want to go through some of the controls and some of the functionality of the game. So right off the bat, I want to talk about what we got going on here. So obviously you have a preview of your engine, and this is animated. It moves. Okay, it's how you can see, what's the actuation like, where's your TDC, how are things are moving, are you colliding with the head, whatever, right? Then you have your exhaust flow, which there we go. All right. But down below we have clutch, gear, dyno speed, torque, and power. So you can enable a you can enable the dyno for your engine and measure relatively the accuracy of the engine's performance in the game depending on its specs. Oops. And now I have to restart it because I hit this magical button that full screens it, and every time I do that, it opens it up in other monitor for some reason. We're getting there, guys. Slowly but surely. Excuse me. Then we have engine speed, vehicle speed, which if you have gearing and you've defined a vehicle, you can define a vehicle, and that means like its weight, it's, it's like basically in a very simple way, it's aerodynamics. You can define gearing ratios, tire diameter, drag, all sorts of stuff, so that you can build a vehicle around your engine. It may not draw it in a a way that you can see it, but you can run through the gears, with your arrow keys here. And then I believe it's shift to hold the clutch, and then if you hold space bar and then press shift, you can slowly engage the clutch or slowly disengage the clutch, vice versa. Couple of things are you can hit M to set the render layer, M and N. So M is going to be first layer, and then M and P and apostrophe. So M is render layer 1, apostrophe is render layer 0. So this would be the first cylinder in the stack, and the second cylinder, and so on and so forth. So you can do basically you can define you can set ignition, S is your starter, and then you can set basically you can slow it down. So 1 is like 75% speed, right? 2 is going to be half speed, and this is a great way for us to look at these graphs below and kind of see them in action. And you can see here, the valves actuating, so you can see the intake's opening as we get top, so there's some scavenging. We're pulling in all that fresh fuel, right? We're gonna come up for a compression stroke. I don't know if I have ignition turned on. We'll come up for the compression stroke. All right. Cool. Coming back down. This would have been our power stroke. Okay, now we're in the exhaust stroke. Right. You can see the pulse as we come up. The pulse builds up as the exhaust pressure skyrockets, right? Per cylinder, etc., etc. So I did have if you click out, so understand too, guys, that this game is made by one dude who made it as a passion project because he couldn't find a decent engine sim. It has bugs. It's gonna crash. We're gonna break it. But let's go back to the very first. So this is a Gixxer engine, so it's inline 4. So I don't know why we're only seeing 2 pistons here. That's weird. Do I have to hold M and do it? Huh. I don't know why this is only showing me as 2 cylinders. Let me make sure that this isn't broken for some reason. Maybe I downloaded a bad one. No, there should be 4 cylinders here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Doesn't matter. I know there's a way to go down the stack, but I don't know what all these do. So I don't want to press too many buttons. Huh, okay. Anyways, so I just want to run through. We're going to run through one more time. And okay, so we see that here. Ignition's disabled. There's no ignition going on. We're just dry running the engine right now, right? Turning it over. So now I've enabled ignition. And we're going to go ahead and start it. Now, I don't know why. She's wrapping right up. So, the throttle game was maybe set wrong, and I'm not really sure how to adjust it. We'll figure all that out. But here you go. You can see here. They slow it down for us. So we're at a quarter speed here, at about 7,200 RPMs. All right. Half speed. You see the firing order. And then E and R control your throttle. Don't shift gears with the dyno. So, oh, we are weak. It's a weak engine. I might have downloaded a bad one. Why are we struggling? Man, this thing is not doing hot when it comes to... Anyways, this engine sucks. Sorry, the guy who made this. We're going to move on. So we have a handful here. I've downloaded some crazy ones. Let's do this crossplane. We'll do the old crossplane here. What do we got going on here? So you guys see where we're defining the engine. So you can see a crossplane, inline 4 crossplane. So this would be an R1 engine. You come in here, and this main file here is like the main file that you define what engine you want, or you're importing, whatever the case may be, right? And you can come in here and enter, and we'll reload it. That did not work, and I wonder if oh, you know what it is. It's a me problem. Let's try again. You gotta tell it what file you're trying to talk to. Here we go. Cool. There you go. Now we see the layers working. Okay. So we'll do the same thing. We'll do, see all the cylinders in the stack, right? This one looks like it's pretty well made. Crossplane engines are weird because it's like there's such a gap between the firing orders for power distribution to the rear tire. This is all for MotoGP. We'll dry fire it. You can hear right away it sounds like a crossplane. So let's go ahead and give it some ignition. We'll drop the dyno on it. We'll give her the beans. So 231 horsepower and 170 foot-pound of torque is a little unrealistic for this engine. But let's just let it run. Maybe it's because I had it smacked wide open. Yeah, they don't make this much power. That's crazy. That's alright though. We're here just to play with it. So here you can see the cross-plane firing. If you look on the top right, that's your ignition order. And depending on how bright that circle is, depends on how well that cylinder's firing. So you can hear what makes crossplane so unique, despite being inline 4. There's such a gap between the first, from the last fire in the cylinder back to the first one. That's why they have such a throaty sound. Here we go. Just get rid of the beans. The thing about this game too, I think people need to understand, is it's pretty hard to define an engine so efficient as what you get from, the car lot. Alright, let's shut her down and see what we got going on here. Engine braking, by the way, is also a mechanic in the game. What else we got? What other engines we got floating around? Sorry, guys. All right, we got a 2JZ GE. I got some buddies who would sell their children for 2JZ, and I don't know much about the JDM world, so I don't know which one would be the right one. But nonetheless, they'd sell it for 2JZ something. I'm having a sneezing fit out of nowhere because I need to talk now. So give me a second. All right, one farmer's blow later and some allergy medication. So 2JZ underscore GE underscore tuned. So 2JZ underscore GE underscore tuned. And if somebody watches and you know about 2JZ motors, tell me if this is accurate or not. I have no idea. But let's go ahead and reload it and bring up this 2JZ. Oop, I must have did something wrong again as usual. Screwed some up. 2JZ. Maybe because I'm missing the 2, huh? That might help. Let's try again. There we go. Cool. And then we'll just walk through the layers here. Make sure we have all our cylinders. So inline 6. Cool. We're just going to run through it. Now you can see right off the bat the exhaust pulses on this engine are very, very tuned, I suppose. Let's give her some gas, see what she's got. Okay, so good idle. And in this game, it's hard to get the engine to idle. You have to manage like the primary fuel rate and the throttle body percentage and all sorts of stuff. Oh, sheesh. We got the dyno on. Let's run through that one more time. Let's get a full dyno measure. The red line on that's hilarious. So I made a little over 400 pound look like. Yeah, 434 horse, 435 horse, and 357 foot pound. Now that seems accurate to me. I don't know what a 2JZ without a turbo. So the gentleman who made this is making, like I was saying earlier, an actual release version of the game, and it will have a turbo, like the Action Duty turbos, and I'm actually part of this episode series we're doing that I'll be doing on top of all the other ones. You know, trying to get you guys some fun, unique game content. I'm trying to program in the functionality for diesels. I put together a CAT 3516, a CAT C18 ACERT, and some variation as much as I could with Google knowledge. And the problem is the gas engine at the end of the day. Now, it makes crazy power, but it's like an incredibly out of metric, out of reality, compressed gas engine, you know. And there's no knocking in the game, right? So some things like that, you know, you can get away with making diesels. But yeah, so I was laughing because it had a funny, the red line, the old two-step. Let's see what it sounds like getting on it. No. They understand that the people who made this, they have to define lobe separation and lift and duration, and they do the timing and all sorts of stuff. So it can be, it may be tough to. Looks like he has it tapped out at 150. That's the old governor. So here's engine braking, ignition or not, engine braking. And the thing to remember, guys, is that audio is not something that somebody made. It's being generated by the metrics of the engine. And now you can define tones and things like that to help dial in the sound you're looking for. But, yeah, let's move on. What's next? What we got next? Let's see here. Okay, Harley Davidson Evo. One of the guys in our writing group has a Dyna. And I believe, I don't know much about Harleys. I do like them. I just don't know much about them. And I do believe that the Evo, this, I don't know what exactly size he's told me, and I forget entirely. But I do know it's an Evo. So let's go ahead and load this up. So we'll grab the engine name again. What I'm doing is I'm just copying the name of the engine from this function here that's defining the engine. I'm going into the main file. I'm just calling it, for you programming guys, we're just calling the engine, or like it's calling the function or the object, I guess. It's his language, you know, so I try not to put too much thought into it. Let's go ahead and start it up. Cool, now we got a Harley engine. So we'll run, again, as normal, we'll run through it. See, I had no idea how Harley even remotely worked. Now, again, these are made by people, so I can't tell you how accurate they are, if the design's appropriate, if the timing's right. Turn on ignition. Give the old dyno. So it looks like this one's probably not designed right. Oh, well, I guess maybe if I didn't give it the full beans, huh? That would help. Do they really make 45 horse? No way. I gotta make more power than that. 80 horse at least. Well. Ooh. There we go. I don't know. This one's not near as exciting, I would suppose, because probably not all of us are Harley guys. Super interesting. People love those bikes too, man. Harley guys love their Harleys. Let's do something just out of the ballpark unique. I have, let's see here. Let's do this little 125. I don't believe this is it. A 125 should not be a twin. We don't want to do that. Let's do... Okay. This guy put the dang PDF for the Honda. So Honda CRF 250R. Okay. Single. That's what he's named it. So we'll go ahead and replace this. Again, we're just importing the file that's defining the engine, and then we're calling the engine function here, the engine object. Let's go ahead and reload it. All right, totally different ballpark. We'll do the same thing. We'll cycle through it. Slow-mo. Then we'll start ignition. Give it the old kick. Bring her back down to idle. Classic single cylinder 2-stroke. Ooh, that right ignition at top dead. Poof. And then pop the dyno. I'll give her the beans. So let the Harley guy know that you got beat out almost by 249cc Honda 4-stroke dirt bike motor, or I guess not dirt bike. This would be their 250, their like entry level sport bike class. That was fun, but I have something even crazier. We have a lot of crazier things in here. Let's do, what's 4GAA? I don't even know what it is. I don't even look that into it. We're just gonna grab it. It's probably gonna be one of their. It must be a Ford. One of their like Ford Big Block or a Ford Race, or not a Ford Big Block, just one of their like more performant V8s. There we go. Okay. Do a slow-mo. Look at the actuation here. So this is a V8. So here's layer 1, here's layer 2, layer 3, layer 4. So when I'm actuating like that, when you're building your engine, you need to debug what's going on. You can jump to the layers to see if there's like a cylinder down the line that's not firing. Right. Let's go ahead and turn her on. Let's give her ignition. Oh, okay. All right. And then we'll walk down the render layers here. Let's pop the dyno on. Give her the beans. There's no way this. No, at this point I'm having a little too much fun because I downloaded a bunch of these and I really think about what exactly they all were. W12 Holden. So a W12, to me, that makes me think that this is one of them German 12-cylinder engines that gets a white glove treatment like the Ducati does. So let's bring this guy online. See what this looks like. Oh, sheesh. Definitely a W engine. That makes sense. So you can tell, you know, realistically it should go like this. This one would be here, and this one would be here, and this, you know what I mean? And it would be like offset. I can probably bring up what the actual engine looks like. And We're just going to look at this for a quick second because I don't want us to get in trouble with YouTube here. But this is what actual W12 looks like. It's like 2 6-cylinders offset, right? To make it, to give you the old V12, I guess W12. All right, so we'll cycle through here slowly. Let me reload it real quick because I'm sure I broke something. So some of these more complicated engines, the game doesn't like it as much. Because you know, we're doing some things that probably shouldn't. So the audio issue is, you can see the input buffer there is crazy. And this is usually pretty conducive to engines that are well, a little different one, because that one is making the game upset. The old audio engine is struggling to keep up. Let's see. Let's do LSX. Everybody loves an LS. It's the fucking building Lego of an engine. Anybody can do it. Yeah, that's right. That was a backhand compliment, you Chevy boys. All right. It's dry fire. Okay. Nothing too crazy. Oh, man, we have a very talkative Luna coming to say hello. Let's go ahead and turn her on. Oh, she's cammed. How interesting. We'll turn the dyno on. Oh. Ooh. .527 horsepower and 661 pound of torque. Now, what's interesting is a lot of people don't realize. Turn this off for talk. A lot of people don't realize, but your valve timing, the engine timing, and ignition timing, all that stuff, you can really change. A lot of people don't realize, but there's many ways to get. If you have too much bottom end and off top end, and vice versa, it can really come down to timing and valve and can all sorts of stuff. You know, like in my bike, velocity stacks and are using the velocity stack fuel injectors, using the port injectors, you know. Let's turn it back on. I have a cat in my arms, so I'm going to do my best here. Let's see where this guy is wanting to go. Interesting, right? Let's do 2 more, and we'll close out this video, and then tomorrow night we'll begin the old. So did the old William Huser Raceworks GP bike. I think we're gonna try to come up with a new GP bike design. Not sure what that's gonna look like. We may do that together. I may look up some stuff online and see if there's something that would be the coolest to do. Let's see here. We have V22. All right, we gotta try this one. I don't even know where this comes from. A V22. This sounds like a tank engine, plane engine from World War II. Stop eating the plants, crazy kitty. Ooh, nope. See, these engines, they get upset with with all the mechanics here. So I have to, what I do is I put it in the slower render mode, and that tends to kind of help it chill out. But you can see the input buffer is so struggling to catch up here. We're just gonna restart this game. Do you see what I'm saying? It's got some work, and I think when he does the actual release, it probably will be a little better. Let's see here. Okay, well, I don't know. I'm a little weary of these 12 cylinders, but what people don't realize is it's not so much about how many cylinders it is. It's about people getting the massive, moment of inertia and things like that. That all very much so matters. And if you don't get that right, that can cause a lot of issues with the math on the back end. Now here we go. Here's a 12 cylinder, and right now I can tell our input buffer is a little high, but she'll probably level out here shortly once everything gets figured out. But we'll slow her down just for the sake of. See, at least it's animating better. But audio is not having the input buffer struggling. Yeah, we're gonna let that one go. We'll pick another one here. Let's try this Brutus. I think we did the Brutus already, didn't we? Maybe not. What is the Brutus? I don't even know who you are. Please be more efficient than the rest of these. I wonder if it's my computer too. I wonder if like my computer's like upset with. Where's our engine set map here? That's fine. What you got for affinity? You got all the affinity. You know, it probably doesn't like. It probably gets weird about the fact that I have a billion CPUs. It's probably like, what are you doing, bro? We'll just give her 4. See how that works out. Didn't make a damn difference. Oh, maybe. Oh. Oh. I wonder if because I changed the affinity to now, it's all whacked out. I can see that it says clutch is depressed, and I'm like, well, I get that. We'll give it all back. We'll give her the full chooch again. Come on. The starter is struggling. A rock starter right in here. This thing is struggling. Come on. It's cool to hear it for a second, I suppose. So apparently the big engines are just not having it. Let's figure something a little more appropriate. Let's do this F1 engine. I'm a big fan of F1. Love to watch F1. Probably gonna go when we get off this and I go to bed. Probably put some F1 highlights back on and get caught up on the stuff I've missed. But I bet you this one works good. So this is a 6-cylinder. What is this? Just F1 engine. It's gotta be based off like a Mercedes or Renault or whatever. So let's just cycle this one. Ooh, she quick. That stroke is non-existent. Was she broken back here? Huh. Holy moly. That's pretty nifty. We're going to do one more, though, because that one wasn't giving me the fun I was hoping to give us. What do we got here? What is the MP10? Sounds like a diesel. A Dersel. Oh, yeah, that's I would assume that was going to be a diesel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, it's like a big old inline 6. Look at the compression, the combustion chamber thing is huge. Let's turn her on. .945 foot-pound of torque. Yo, crazy. Let's see. Let's do one more because these are all been crazy. What is a 2JV10? 10-cylinder, right? Let's. If this one sucks, ethanol. This man defined ethanol. Okay. What's the head? It's a BMW engine. Okay. TJ V10. Okay. So far, all right. Made wise. Let's go ahead and just turn her over. Oh my goodness. Start her up. Holy moly. Turn the dyno on. Give her the beans. We just pegged it like. Interesting, right? Now to close this out, I think we're gonna open one of my broken engines. Let's go ahead and open up my attempt at doing the Damo Stradale V4. Little fun fact: the V4 engine is tandem fire, so it goes 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. They do that because they want it to be like the old L twins that Ducati is known for. And so they worked really hard. Well, didn't work hard. I mean, they built the engine to try to, do a service to now this thing's broken, just warning you guys. And I don't remember I even left it in a working edition. Should get my naming convention standardized, right? Dang it, what am I screwing up? There we go. There she is. So I'll run her slow first. Dry fire. You hear the exhaust, the timing of the engine. So I'll go ahead and turn the ignition on, but I'm going to run her slow so you guys can see the timing of the engine. My issue is getting the feel right. I think I was working on the fuel percentage, and I don't think I left it in the. can't get it to fire. You can see the firing order though. You can see. Ooh. Yeah, my timing's way off. Anyways, I don't know if I have any engines that I did that are actually working. I wonder if the Godzilla works. I don't know if I end up fixing this one either. So Ford came out with a 7.3 liter, like the Power Stroke, except a gas version called the Godzilla. And I don't remember if I got this one working. Well, at least it loaded. Ooh, I feel it way off. Holy moly. Just knocking, bro. It's like pumping the throttle to get her started. I broke it. Hit the wrong button. Anyways. So this is a little unorthodox. Little crazy of a demo, but it's late. I need to go to bed. I wasn't even going to do it because I kind of was not getting my stuff done in time to bring this video. But if you find this video and you end up going across and you're like, what the heck? I am. And I think my good buddy, Zach, may attempt to help me. We're going to try to build a GP engine. Mind you, he's a master mechanic and does natural gas work in the mechanic side and not rebuilding engines. Like, he runs the units that compresses the gas for distribution. And we were joking about, can we devise a super high performant superbike engine that would fit narrower than an inline 4 but make more power than the V4 series, and we're gonna figure something out. Anyways, guys, I know it's like a little unorthodox and a little over the board. I know it's late, but I appreciate you guys for watching. If you find this interesting, let me know. If you like more simulation style games, I love them. I got a ton of them. I play F1. I play MotoGP. I have a ton of those kind of games as well. I'm always be down to do a whole F1 series to you guys, livery and all. Yeah, look out for the podcast. We're doing a new podcast here soon. And make sure you go to Doc's channel, ed.gamer, and check out his monitor video, because apparently that's some crazy stuff that he's been fixing for the last 3 days. Yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to check this out, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good night.